I don't
Oh, it's a funeral right next to the crib.
even know
Pictures are deceiving.
where to start.
Okay, you go first.
I'm not going there.
Ash!
I don't think it's necessary.
I don't even know where to start. What are you talking? We're here to view the house. How am I supposed to know what's up there? It could be a dead body.
Welcome to the house hunting series. Let me just say, this doesn't end the way most people would think. This has literally been a year in the making. It's been difficult, it's been really hard, it's been a lot of fun, and it's also done. I mentioned on my channel a while ago that I was interested in buying a house. It's my biggest goal of my life, but I had like a couple of options. I gotta take you back to the beginning where it all started, otherwise nothing's gonna make sense. Something else got me really excited. I wasn't really gonna mention anything until it was all said and done, but I've been like literally in a mental funk about a specific topic. I think I finally figured it out. Basically, I have been working on buying a house. I know a lot of y'all might not think this is a big deal, but for someone coming from the hood with $0 to her name, this is huge to me. Also, this is probably my biggest goal in life. Last thing on the checklist besides my wedding. Not getting married, just the wedding. I don't really need the whole husband thing. I just want the wedding day. Anyways, buying a house has always been one of my biggest goals of my entire life, and I think I'm kind of ready to buy, but the problem is where and why? So the options are, number one, buy a house for myself here in Japan, somewhere very close to Tokyo, because I still have to go to work in Tokyo. But I don't want to live in Tokyo at all. I want to live in the countryside. If I could pick, I'd be out in like middle of nowhere, Yamagata, Hyogo. But yeah, I have to stay close to Tokyo, so I'm looking at other prefectures like Kanagawa, Chiba, Saitama, Yamanashi, and Shizuoka. Mainly because of my budget. If I was rich, I would get a gigantic farmhouse in Tokyo, but I'm not. We gotta look around. The problem with that is it's a lot of work. If I buy a house for myself, I have to renovate it. I want to renovate it, and I have to find the perfect one. Like, I'm not gonna settle for something I don't want. I want a very big traditional Japanese house with a lot of land. Option number two is buy an investment property here in Japan, rather in Tokyo or in Kyoto. Sounds fun, but I just know it's gonna be kind of a lot of work to organize my taxes and like maintain the home. Do I want to do like Airbnb, or do I want to do more long-term rental? Option number three, buy a home for myself in California. Again, I want very similar things, kind of. I just want a home in the countryside of California. It has to be in one of the national forests. Ideally, I would want a property in Big Bear. That would be the best, but they're very pricey right now. Like, housing prices are very high. Yes, interest rates are low. The actual house costs a lot of money. So that's an option, but I'm just like, do I want to buy a house in California? Do I buy one here, you know, where I live? And then there's also the last option, which is buy an investment property in California. See, even just saying this out loud helps.
What happens to us in the future, Doc?
Your daughter marries a black man!
Y'all need to see this pros and cons list. It was nuts. I contemplated for so long. The thing about me is there's no talking me out of something that I want. And I really wanted a house for myself, like a really big, traditional Japanese style house. But your girl is broke. So I wanted to sit down first and tell you guys exactly what an Akiya is and some of the pros and cons. I see so much false information, and also they just get people's hopes up. I hope I'm not the bubble popper, but I just feel like there's a lot of negative points that I want to focus on because no one's saying these things on the internet. The only thing that you see is free houses in Japan. Come get you a beautiful gigantic castle for free.
For free?
No. No, nah. What is an Akiya? An Akiya is like an unoccupied, abandoned house. It can range anywhere from a abandoned, dilapidated piece of junk to something that's only been abandoned for a few years, has been upkept with. Is that a word? There's someone doing the upkeep and the property is in great condition. I have seen things that cost $0 all the way up to a couple of $100,000s. There's a wide range. I have been wanting to buy an Akiya for a very long time, but some of the reasons which pushed me in this direction was number one, the biggest one. I rich! I'm broke. I do have a long-term visa, however, I do not have permanent residency, therefore I can't get a bank loan. That means I have to pay cash. Hence the low budget. I want a very large house with a lot of land. I also want a traditional Japanese style home. So for those three reasons, buying an Akiya makes the most sense. I wanted an old place that I can renovate and make my own myself. I do know how to do a lot of construction work. I know I don't look it. I'm not flexible, but your girl can lay some flooring. I can build some cabinets. There's a lot of things I can do myself. And I don't mind renovating it slowly, which I hope will help cut down on costs. Plus, I think it's fun. So the whole Akiya route just makes sense. There are like numerous reasons why there are so many Akiyas. Declining birth rate and aging population. A lot of these homes are located in the countryside where it's kind of hard to maintain, find jobs, so most people move to the cities. Property tax is another reason why these houses are often left abandoned. They're passed down to younger generations. The owners don't want to admit ownership because of the high property tax, so the house just sits. Just to give you an idea, there are around 64 million homes in Japan. Like 8 million of them are abandoned. So, buying an Akiya. I have been on this Akiya house hunting journey for a long time, and there are a few things that I want to mention. Number one, yes, foreigners can buy houses in Japan. You can buy a new house, you can buy an Akiya, no problem. You do not need a visa to buy a home in Japan. However, you do need a visa to live in a home in Japan. Buying a house will not give you a visa. So you can only stay for whatever visa duration your country has. I feel like America is like 3 months. I don't really know, don't quote me, but you can only stay for a very short period of time each year. If that's fine for you, great. Or if you're looking for a second home or a little vacation home, great. I know a couple who bought their home and have not been able to get into it because the borders were closed for all those years. There's a lot to take into consideration. Some of the main difficulties with buying an Akiya. Number one, the location. Number two, the condition of the home. And for me, number three, all of these hidden regulations that no one is talking about. A lot of these places won't even allow you to buy unless you meet like a specific criteria. For example, there was a town I was very interested in Kyoto after doing a butt ton of research, and I'm like so ready to buy. Turns out, in order to buy an Akiya in that town, you have to enroll in the neighborhood association, which means you have to speak perfect Japanese, you have to go to a monthly meeting, and just like help with all of these other town things, which makes sense. I go to America a lot for like 3 months at a time. That would not have been allowed. She basically told me like, you're gonna have a lot of duties if you want to buy this house, and so your Japanese needs to be great. As I mentioned, I was looking for a place with a lot of land. A lot of these places that have a good size amount of land are basically for farmers only. So you would have to apply and be accepted to a farmers association. So you have to actually use your land and explain what crop you're going to be farming and have this farmer's license. A lot of the properties I picked, I couldn't even get because I wasn't a farmer. There were some that were willing to allow you to sell part of your land to other farmers in the area, but it was like only up to a year, and after that you have to farm your own land. There's a lot of hidden junk. One of the most shocking ones I found. You can't move. If that don't sound like get out, some of them are like, you can't use this as a second home, you can't move, you have to live here for 20 plus years. And I even saw a lot of them only accepting young couples with kids at a specific age at that. The goal of a lot of these Akiya programs is to revitalize that city and bring it back to life. So of course they're looking for young folks with kids or people that can contribute to the town and get it back on its feet. So it kind of makes sense that they have some of these rules, but just keep that in mind. Also, these houses need a lot of work. The housing system in Japan is like opposite of America. So after 30 years, the house is basically deemed useless. Whereas in America, as the house matures, it gains equity, we get more money, it's more valuable, but here it's literally the opposite. So a lot of people don't even want these older houses. There have been so many building regulations and updates, a lot of these things are not up to code and would cost a lot to get them properly earthquake, flood, and fireproof. I forgot what year it was exactly, but after a specific year, there were some pretty major changes, and almost all of these Akiyas are not built to the current earthquake standard. You would have to get the entire place retrofitted, I think is the word, where they pretty much changed the entire foundation, like the columns, the insulation, the roof. Speaking of the roof, if you're like me and you're looking for a traditional style house, that can cost a lot of money as well. For example, a lot of these traditional styles were built in traditional ways. Like there are some houses that were built with no nails. They have like this really cool system where they just fit all of the wood and pieces together without using any nails. Well, try renovating that or getting someone to come renovate that. You need like a specialist. That's like a dying trade. There's not a lot of people that can even do a lot of this stuff. The clay roofs. Also, thank you to Tokyo Llama for helping me during this phase and giving me advice which helped to talk me out of a lot of properties which might have been so expensive to renovate. He has an amazing YouTube channel where he's purchased and renovated an Akiya if you guys want to go check it out. Expensive. Do you know how much one tatami mat cost?
Bruh.
This whole free thing, I have not seen that many free homes. I think I only saw like 2 websites that were actually offering free homes, and the homes are in such bad, poor shape that I don't think anyone would have taken those. Also, they were in like crazy rural areas. Another reason why there's so many of these Akiyas and it's such a problem getting people to take them is because they're in dying cities that might not even be around in a couple of years. No one wants to move their entire life and their whole family into a town that's not gonna be there in 10 years. Or that literally takes a train, a bus, a mule, a boat just to get to. Yes, you can find a very beautiful, cheap Akiya to buy in Japan, but there's a lot of things that also come with it, like
you can't live in it year-round if you don't have a visa. It could have a lot of regulations to buy, depending on the area. There could be a lot of taxes and hidden fees. You gotta make sure the neighborhood is actually gonna be there in the next 5 years, and that you actually have enough money to renovate the property.
so much more, but it's very specific, so I'm not going to get into all that. But I just wanted to mention that it's not as easy as a lot of these places make it seem, and it's also not as cheap. A lot of times, it's cheaper to just buy a new house or get a new house built than to renovate one of these Akiyas. So yeah, that's some of the downsides. I'm so sorry for being so negative. I just wanted to make sure I say this because it would have saved me a lot of trouble if I would have known so many things in the beginning, and the internet just likes to nitpick what information they give you. I will link down below to some websites that I use to find Akiyas. Oh, please, please, please do not write any of these places in English. You need to use Japanese, and it's already hard enough out here for foreigners. If you're gonna write these places and you actually are serious, write them in Japanese. Please. There are a lot of websites where you have to register in order to see the listings and the properties, which I think is a good thing. It weaves out the people who just want to peek and the people who are actually serious in buying. If you just want to peek, I feel you. That's me all day long. I've been peeking years before I was ready to buy. Peeking is a process. So if you just want to peek, I'm going to link to some stuff as well down below where you can just peek away. And you don't have to register a sign up or anything like that. One more thing I want to mention if you actually are house hunting for an Akiya is that you need to be extremely precise about the area. Every single little tiny town has their own Akiya bank. They have their own listings, they have their own rules. In the beginning, I did not know this, and it was so hard to find places. So I was like typing in KYOTO Akiyas. There are so many, and they're all managed individually. Get very specific about the actual area that you want to be in. All right, so in the next episode, we're gonna jump right into this house hunting journey. I'm gonna talk about all the stuff that I'm looking for. It's gonna get messy, it's gonna be fun, but buckle up because we in for a very long ride. This is quite the series. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, especially because I really don't know the upload schedule for this series. Please subscribe to make sure that you are notified the next time another video is uploaded. All right, I will see y'all in the next one.